countries, 3 different continents so far. Here we are in India. That's my wife who travels with me usually all the time, except for this one trip. Usually she's by my side. We travel all over the world together. We were in, this is the Indian Ocean, actually. See famous people all around the world as well. Guess who this is? Nobody knows? This is Joseph, world famous cheetah. If you've ever seen a cheetah in a movie, it's usually been this guy. He was purring like a kid. We were in South Africa and went by and saw Joseph. We get to travel and do some crazy things. I believe in working hard and playing hard. We had a group, about 15 people. We all went around ATVing around Dominican Republic, all in the hills and the valleys. Spent about 5 hours that afternoon going ATVing. Just so much fun. Who would like to go on some journeys with me? It's the only way. You can create 6- and 7-figure income annually and dominate your market, especially in real estate. Here's what I did in real estate. The way to dominate is get control of what you're doing and what your actions are. I stopped and called. I stopped and called everything. This is way back before the internet. Now it's even easier. Only at the time, you really had to get out in the field and drive your neighborhoods. Well, fortunately, I was in outside sales, so I was driving neighborhoods all the time, and I stopped and called every opportunity I found. When I say stop and call, when did I make the phone call? So I see a property today. When do I make the phone call? Immediately. Like when you get back to your office. In the car? No way. Yes way. I actually have been training on this for years, and I had one woman stand up who had seen me before who had talked about this, and she's like, well, I don't know what's going on with my business. Like, things aren't happening. And said, I've got all these great leads, only I don't know what's going on and why they're not converting. I said, well, when are you making the phone calls? Oh, well, on the weekend. So I accumulate all the deals, all the information during the week, and then on weekends when I have time, I start making some of the phone calls, and I've got this pile on my desk of leads that I haven't called yet. I went, this doesn't work unless you communicate to the other person that you have a desire to buy their property. Does that make sense? You must make the phone calls and make them immediately. I always had a clipboard. Now it's easier. You can have your computer or your tablet with you. I had a clipboard with my information forms. Always blank forms ready to fill in the blanks wherever I went. Always had it on my desk and always had it in my car at all times. As soon as I would see a property, I would pull over, make the phone call, and start filling out the paperwork. I remember this one afternoon, I saw this huge property. Now, when you're making the phone call, are you looking for something specific? Yes. You should be. You should know what you're looking for in advance, right? You should have specific criteria that fit your needs. Anybody have specific criteria for what they're looking for in a real estate deal? Anybody have that already? What's your criteria?
Profitability, so that but based upon certain parameters that I already know what they are.
So what are the parameters?
The property is selling for a lot less than it should be, and when there's a profit.
How do you judge what should and could be?
I look at the comps and I can tell immediately.
Okay, so you have a fast way to get to the comp value.
Very fast.
Good. Then, so you want a spread there. What's the other criteria? Or is that it? I'm done. Yeah, what else?
I know what the cost is going to be to work that property, and then to see the profitabilities.
When you say the cost to work the property?
If it's a rehab or if it's just...
So you know the rehab cost, in other words, and how to get it from here to that level of value in a short period of time. Awesome. So that spread, knowing how to get from here to there. Any other criteria?
Just the cost of the financing and
okay.
the
So
cost of the deal.
Working the expenses in.
Right.
Is it so you're dealing strictly in residential single-family homes?
Not really, but that's
okay.
That's what we're talking about.
Well, no. So what's your criteria? Is it residential or commercial? Is it single-family or multifamily?
All of the above.
Is it?
But
Is there a certain level of rehab that you're accepting, or is there no level?
No level, this is as long as.
So if there's a
profit or no-
$50,000 or $100,000 rehab project, you're okay with that as long as
or
there's still a
300,000,
spread?
I'm okay with it.
Right, as long as there's still a spread. Knowing your criteria, is everyone have the similar criteria, or can you see that you might have different? You might have different. I know for me, I was not interested in doing a major rehab project most of the time. So I was looking, paint and carpet, we're good. Redoing maybe kitchen and bathroom, but nothing where it was a gut job. That wasn't my interest, that wasn't my passion, wasn't interested. Although I ended up with a few deals that if we did that, it wasn't my first criteria. Knowing those parameters, knowing where you fit is hugely, why is that so important?
You don't waste your time on stuff you don't.
Waste your time in what way? And this is key, not just when you get into the deal.
Well, if you're monetizing your time, if you're spending time looking at things that aren't giving you returns, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your money.
When you know your criteria, you can dial in your time. You can see within, and you should be able to see within minutes, if not less, whether a deal is fitting your criteria or not. And so your speed with which you can run through 100 different deals will increase exponentially the more you have dialed in your criteria of what you're looking for. Does that make sense? So I got it really dialed in as to what I was looking for. Now what I was looking for at the time, did I have a lot of excess cash? Remember, this was when I first got started. Did I have a lot of excess cash? No. So I was looking for rental properties, and in the Northeast during that time, I needed them to be multi-unit properties. Why?
Higher ROI.
Higher ROI, but single-family homes were not giving cash flow. So I was looking for buy and holds to give me cash flow that were multi-unit, and I had an unusual criteria. I wanted them filled. Is that normal when you're buying a rental property? Most of the time you want them empty so you can create a clean slate and a clean relationship with good tenants. You don't want to adopt bad behaviors and bad habits, which is what happens when you adopt tenants that are already in the property. However, why did I want it completely filled? Cash flow right away. I had no money. I wanted to make sure I got into the property, it was going to cash flow. Did I mention that I wanted residential or commercial? I didn't care. I just wanted something that cash flowed. Multi-unit was going to cash flow. If it was filled, I wasn't particular. It could be either. I was okay with that. Does that make me good, bad, or indifferent? I don't know. It just worked. Sometimes you don't know whether it's good or bad. You just know it works. It did for me. And the big key was I knew the criteria. I had it written down. I had it in my mind. So every phone call I knew, does it fit my criteria or not? I saw this huge sign. It was in front of a building that was a commercial building, had like storefronts on the bottom, and then medical and dental and financial and attorney offices on top. And I saw the building, I saw the big sign, for sale. I went, oh, I got all excited. Multi-unit looked like it was mostly filled, may not be all filled, but mostly filled, which meant it probably cash flowed when I can negotiate it right. Look at things, so by the way, I've been in straight commission sales and had my own business for 30 years. Who thinks I might have the sales and negotiations piece dialed in a little? Yes. I learned how to sell cold calling in Manhattan to high-end professionals. I was in the medical field for 10 years, in the dental field for about 8, setting up and building those type of practices. That was my old life that I left behind to create this. I built the criteria, and I knew I could negotiate. When negotiated right, this looked good. I called up the realtor. Guess what they said? Yeah, this isn't, the whole building isn't for sale. It's one condo in the building. Is that what I was looking for? Does that fit my criteria at all?
No.
Next. So then what do? You're on the phone with the realtor, you realize it's not fitting your criteria, what do?
Ask if there are things over.
Wow. You guys are good. You see, I call that a power question. Now, power questions don't have to be really intelligent. They just have to be powerful to get you results. I asked, what else do you have? Instead of just hanging up the phone, I asked one additional question. And the realtor said, I've got this great property, well, at least I think it's good, and it just came on the market just now, and oh, and by the way, it's on Main Street. Now, I don't care who you are, where you're from, or where in the country you're looking, you hear Main Street, run! Get there, there's opportunity! I heard Main Street, I was like, I'm there. It was 10:30 in the morning, by noon we were doing a walkthrough. Question? So, noon I'm doing a walkthrough, and well, this was the property. This is a property on Main Street, it's a 3-unit storefront, commercial property, all rented. Does it fit my criteria?
Yes.
Now the list price was $769,000. What was my price range? I didn't have a price. Who has a price range and what they're willing to buy? What they're interested in buying? What's your price range?
Between 50K and 100,
How come?
because I'm new and I'm afraid of bigger numbers.
What? Yeah, oh, absolutely. And that's usually the response. What if I told you that there was a $300,000 piece of property that is really worth $1 million? Would you be interested?
Yeah.
However, you would never even see it because you said 50 to 100. And I want you to get, sometimes we cut ourselves off from opportunity because we limit where we believe we could reach. Dare to reach further. Dare to reach for the sky. Dare to believe that day one, you are worthy of more. I dared to reach. I dared to look at this. Here was something I did prior to finding this one. Oh, and by the way, I said I stopped and called. How many properties do you need to look at? How many of you are real estate investors? Raise your hand up high. Should be the whole room. Go ahead, raise your hand. There you go. You're all real estate investors. How many of you have placed at least one offer in the last 30 days? What are we going to do? Here is the only way, what's the number one way to get a piece of property? And the only way to buy a piece of property? I'm sorry, what? Submit an offer. You do not submit offers, you are not in the real estate game. You are not going to get a new piece of property. Who here gets this? It's a must. Now, how many properties do you need to look at to find a deal? These are stats, just averages. What do you think? How many properties do you want to look at to find a deal?
Quite a few.
Quite a few. Yeah. What you put out there, you get back, and that confuses the universe, my subconscious, and my task list. When I say, look at quite a few today. So what's the number? 30. 30 in a given month, or in any time frame, to get one deal. How many deals do you want this year? 12. So it's a simple mathematical equation. 12 times 30 gives you, who knows the number? 360 deals you've got to analyze to get what you want this year. Are you doing that? Awesome. Placing those offers is key. I looked at in my first 30 days of real estate, I found this deal. How many pieces of property did I look at? To find this, I stopped and called everywhere, everything. I looked at over 100 properties to create this one. When you are not skilled, when you are brand new, when you're just getting going and you do not have some of the knowledge base yet, it's about 100 to 1. When you get knowledge, you'll be able to dial that in and make that better and better. Only at the beginning, just assume it's 100 to 1 and you'll never go wrong. 100 to 1, to analyze 100 properties, you'll get that one deal. Now I say that to people, and then they go out there and like, yeah, I'm a real estate investor. Yeah, I'm getting going. How many deals have you analyzed in the last 30 days? 2. I'd be like, so, sometime in the next 5 years, you will get your first property. And they look at me getting all depressed. I said, it is what it is. You know, sometimes it just boils down to the numbers. Know your numbers. So I looked at 100 deals to get one. I found the one. I started looking deeper. I went right away. I took massive action. 10:30, I heard about the property. By 12 o'clock, I'm doing a walkthrough. At the end of the walkthrough, the realtor gave me this nice little sheet. It's actually this particular sheet is what the realtor gave me. I found it took me years to find this again. It was buried somewhere in my file. Who knew I was going to be a speaker? And train on this. I was just going out there and making deals. This was the sheet that the realtor gave me. Well, and the realtor said, well, if you're interested, just send over a LOI. And I left. My first 30 days, how much knowledge did I have? I was just learning. Guess what? I had no idea what it was. What an LOI was. I went to my books, and again, we didn't have the internet a lot back then. I went to my books and went, LOI, LOI, LOI. What's it? Oh, letter of intent. It's how you place an offer on commercial property. Got it. I then retyped, because we didn't have that digital format all wrapped in yet. I retyped what I saw on the page, retyped it in to create my new LOI and sent it over. By 8:30 the next morning, the realtor had an offer. Is that important? Speed of action. You must get into action. You do not get into action, what's going to happen? Time will pass you by, and you will be long since gone before you get to those 100 properties plus that you need to find your first deal. How many of you are still looking for your first deal? Raise your hand up high. Awesome. How many of you have done more than 5 deals? More than 10? More than 20? Got it. So this deal placed the offer. Now again, I've had a background in sales and negotiations. I might have known a thing or two about working this deal, and so I did end up buying this deal, and I bought it in an LLC. I hadn't learned trust yet, which is the way to go. I put it in an LLC, and it's T3 Holdings. Why did I call it T3 Holdings? It was all about my kids. It was all about building a future for them. Twins 3, and it was holdings for them. It was what it was all about and what it still is. And I bought it for, and here's the details of it. I bought it for $372,000. Change. Who here thinks that's a pretty good deal? What was that?
I haven't looked at the contract, but it sounds good.
Well, let's take a look at what happened. Here are the results. I had it. List price $765,000, bought it for $372,000. I held it for 2.5 years. So it was a property that I intended to buy and hold, and I held it for 2.5 years, and then I decided it was time. 2.5 years, I spent $2,500 in repairs. Any contractors in here? One or two? What did I spend on? You saw the property, what do you think I spent on?
Paint.
Glass.
Paint, carpet.
It was fully rented already. What did I spend my money on?
Landscape.
It was just a sidewalk outside. It was a net lease. Who here knows what that is? Triple net lease. Triple net lease meant anything from the walls in, the tenant takes care of. And it was a brick building with a flat roof. This was to repair the rubber roof a couple times. That was it. A little bit of tar, I'm done. Spent $2,500 in repairs. Cash flowed about $2,000 a month, every single month. Again, realize that when the price that they had it listed at, they wouldn't have cash flow. I needed to be negotiated down, didn't I? Well, the way I bought it, I got it for $2,000 cash flow a month. What was important in that is Where'd I get the money? 100 different ways. One of which was a hard money lender, 30%. Is this a deal that you might want to pay 30% on? When you're still cash flowing even after the 30%, $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
And here's the real kicker is after 2.5 years, sold it for $685,000. Kind of shows the wealth or the worth of it from the beginning. And made about $312,000 after all expenses were paid and everything was taken care of. Everything is a pretty good deal. One of the things that I show you and I've developed with my students is not only how to do these deals, how to negotiate the deals, but also how to get the funding for the deals. Who your struggles will get the funding for their deals? Raise your hand. Awesome. I've got multiple different techniques and strategies, one of which I used with Ken and Barbara Tomenko. Ken and Barbara came into my existence about 6 years ago. They came in and they had this great 3 to 5 year plan. Who here already knows what they want to accomplish in the next 5 years? Raise your hand up high. 2 years. Over the next 2 years, awesome. So you have it mapped out. Well, Ken, smart guy, knew his stuff. He had just retired and he had this great game plan of exactly what he was going to do, exactly what to do to take care of his wife and himself for retirement. Now, what do you think was challenged with his plan? I didn't hear you.
How to finance it.
How to finance it? No, he had it all structured, all set. He had a pension fund, he had a IRA. He really knew his stuff. Only had one challenge. His wife was still working. His wife was still working, and he had a 3 to 5 year plan to get her out of her working and get retired. And at that point, they'd be all set to take care of themselves, both him and his wife, for the rest of their life. The plan was solid. Again, except for that one thing. Do you think his wife wanted to work while he was already retired? No! She was like, I want to quit now! A glitch in his little plan, isn't it? I said, what if? What if I could show you a game plan where we could do it, instead of 3 to 5 years, we could do it this year? Who here thinks that would be a pretty good offer? I will tell you, for most people that come to me and we go through what you want in your life, we go through your game plan, whatever your game plan is, I usually can accomplish it in half the time. Oh, and by the way, not just it, double what you're looking to accomplish in half the time. Who here thinks that would be an okay equation? That's what I usually do. With Ken and Barbara, it absolutely was what happened. They had this game plan, they talked to me, came to my 3-day boot camp, and she was able to quit within the year. It was actually much sooner than that, but that's a whole other story as to why she didn't. It had nothing to do with their finances being ready for them. She's just super nice. She took her about a year or less to quit her job. She was ready within about 3 months to quit. They came into my existence, they were already doing about 10 rehab flips a year. Now, who thinks that's a pretty good number? That's impressive. Most people think when they're at 10 that they've got it. They've got it dialed in and they're all set. His game plan was to do 10 rehab flips for the rest of his life. I showed him how to increase that vision and increase that result. In the first year of coaching with me, he jumped that from 12 to 24 rehab flips. Who thinks that's pretty good? Or from 10 to 20 to 24 rehab flips. Oh, by the way, in the second year, guess what he did? Doubled it again. We were up to 47 or 48 rehab flips. Oh, and by the way, what do you think he did the year after that? See, they've been coaching with me consistently for the last five, we're going into our 6th year together where they're coaching with me, and every year we've increased their income by another jump, another huge piece. They came in with a net wealth of somewhere around $800,000, and now it's over $8 million. Here thinks they are getting a return on their investment. Powerful. The faster you learn this knowledge, the more you will make. The difference between Ken's game plan of 3 to 5 years and the track he's on now, what's one of the major equations that is now different? Instead of making the million or now 8 million, in 5 years from now, he made it now. Are you able to make more money when you have the money in your pocket today versus tomorrow? Yes. The more you have in your pocket today that you then can reinvest, the more money that you will then end up with in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and the rest of your life. Compounding interest on all of that in multiple different ways is where wealth is built. The faster you get in the game, the more you're going to have at the end of the game. To create. Now, is it all about the money?
No.
It's about what it can get for you, what it brings to you, and then what you can also do for others. One of the most amazing things is I've connected with people all around the world. The ones who are highly successful and have high abundance, what do they do with their money and their time? They have it to give. When someone's struggling with their money and they're working 2-3 jobs just to make ends meet, how much time and money do they have to give to others? None. Pay attention to the equation. Build the abundance for yourself, and that's where your time and energy and money can be spent to then give to others and share and create an abundance in this world. Fast you learn time is your biggest enemy. Pay attention. Don't waste it. I'm supposed to be a motivational speaker and inspiration to everybody. Only there's one fact I will absolutely tell you. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you're from, your background, your nationality. Each and every one of you will absolutely die! It's a given. I don't know when. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week, next month, next year, 10 years, 20 years, a decade, a century from now. What I know is that we all have the same, what? Same seconds. Same seconds in a minute. Same minutes in an hour. Same hour in a day. Same days in a week, weeks in a month in a year. We all get the same amount. It's how